So this question's on about feedback, playtesting, and then design intent. So there's always the goal of what is your overall design. Like if you're making a co-op game and everybody hates working with each other, you failed. You need to fix that part of it, right? But there's sometimes that the feedback is, hey, this thing that you're doing inside of this space, you should do this instead of that, and that is fair feedback, right? And that design intent of why you don't make your design detail, you make your design goals, because you can test for the goals, you can achieve those goals in a bunch of different ways, and user feedback will also often help with that. Where if your goal is some detailed thing, then that's the only thing that can be true, right? And the rule of thumb I use on feedback in general is if somebody once says it, I'll be like, man, maybe that's true, maybe that's not. The time the second person says it, I'm wrong, they're right. It just you're think about the number of people you're going to be able to test with and then what that scales to, right? It's kind of like if one person on your team has a crashing computer because of this bug, that means then thousands of people have that crashing bug. And the same kind of thing with feedback is you got to think of like, well, if I'm hearing this multiple times, then I'm going to hear this from a lot of people. But again, sometimes, I think this has been said to death, this is not insightful, but that users are really good at kind of pointing out problems but not solving them, and that's fair, and that's the way it should be. But then it's your desire. You got to take that feedback and go, okay, well, what was my design intent and what was the goal? Because it's not the detail, it's the goal, and that's why you always have to make sure, man. Stress that again and again and again. Design is about those goals. It's like a map. It's not the detail. It doesn't make a difference that if you drove there or if you walk there, right? It's the experience of going there. And what is you delivering there and what are your goals as a designer? And so you can solve some of this just by always making sure that your design isn't about detail, but it's about those goals. And then just listening and admitting, hey, I was wrong. And what I like to think to myself is, I will use that somewhere else because these stupid people aren't ready for it yet. I need that sometimes.